design them, and I've got a beaver right there below. It's Pinky's Property Service. That's what we talk about, Pinky's Property Service. And right as a logo is a beaver, and right below it says getting it done. I kind of like it, so I kind of do what?
It's still in the development stage.
Yeah, we're gonna have to think about this.
Well, actually, I really like it. So, but my point is that I'm thinking about things to. Oh yeah, I understand the symbolism, great. But my point is that I'm thinking about how to do things properly, how to do things, and how to make them memorable. And as well, I'm doing all these things. But as well, it's quite one thing for me to do it. But there are so many things that we've thought about and planned for, and we had hoped for that, above all things. But everything that we do, we've prayed about, and we've said, God, we don't know what you want. Show us. Show us. Block the doors that I don't need to go down because I'm dumb. I'm going to go down these roads, David. It's proven I've got a long history. Someone asked me one time, are you afraid of failing? Monty, you're not afraid of failing. You'll try anything. I was like, well, yeah. They said, but you're not afraid of failing. I said, why would I be afraid of failing? I said, because I have failed more than anybody that I know. Failing is second nature to me. I fail without even trying to fail. Succeeding, it would scare the crap out of me. If I ever succeeded at something, that would scare me to death. Because I'm used to failing. I don't fail, it won't bother me. So the thing is that I've learned that if I ask God for your guidance, and so last night and this morning, my mind is just reeling with all these things, and I remembered something that I know none of y'all battle depression or anxiety. I've told you a story about my daddy, how my daddy wanted to die because of the voices, the themes that's always in his head. When Daddy died, I got them. And I live with these voices, and I live with my failures. I live with everything, and there'll be days that I'm good. There's days that I'm good, and then there are days that I tell you, I know some of y'all don't feel the darkness. Some of y'all are always happy. Y'all never feel the darkness. Some days, though, if you do understand the darkness, you understand just how dark it is. And I get so down and so depressed and so, I even asked God the other day, I said, God, why? Why are you letting these things haunt me like you do? Why? I go back to something a friend of mine told me. He said, Monty, God is taking you to a place. And he says, it's so you don't ever forget what it's like to be in this place. See, some people, when they're hugely successful, it's even one of the Proverbs. He says, Lord, don't make me rich that I forget you, that I don't have no need for you. Don't make me so poor that I have to steal. But put me somewhere in the middle where I'm comfortable and I'm happy. I can just live in this middle. And that's all I want to do. I want to live in the middle somewhere, AJ. I want to have some measure of time, but I know I got to work. I don't have no problem with working. But on the other side of it is, Michael, if I'm going to work, man told me one time, if I'm going to work, I might as well get paid. But we find out that there are certain verses, and we're going to talk about them. We're going to get into money here later, but we're going to plant seeds now. Because there's clearly verses in the Bible that talks about you work, but yet you have nothing at the end of your paycheck. Y'all ever felt that? You work. What the point is working then? If I'm broke, after I've worked all week long, or if I'm in the hole, you're never out. So you're in that mindset of what? Of no hope. And so the thing is that I would let these things into my heart, and I would just be consumed by them. And so like I told Amber yesterday, I bounce off. I have so many ideas in my mind that I find that if I focus on my ideas, I focus upon my ideas and the things that I can do and that I can achieve, and I get my mind on these things, I find that I am no longer thinking of my depression and failures. It's a thing that I have to constantly guard. And yet, I know that all of us are going through these at different levels of our anxieties and our depressions and all that. And so I've been praying about, okay, God, show me the foundation of this next direction. So if we go, first thing is that I meant to tell everybody, and I'll keep telling everybody, I'm going to keep this up here. I'm actually going to keep redoing it. Pick your trash up. Pick your trash up. Believe it or not, in a small church, believe I'm still, Amber will walk up, somebody left their coffee cup, their jar or, a drink or something, or get kicked over. Okay, well, somebody pick it up. Who's somebody? I can't believe that I'm telling us we got to take up trash. But Proverbs 4:23, and I love this one. And this is the NIV interpretation of it. It says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Above all else. I love that verse. King James says, keep thy heart with all diligence. Same thing. For out of it are the issues of life. Or in other words, for out of your heart, that's what the themes of your life. I love it because above all else, guard your heart. For everything you do flows from it. Above all else. What do you think is above? Think about the thing. Above all else, guard your heart. Think about that. That's kind of a strange thing, isn't it? Guard your heart. Because the thing is, your heart is where everything flows from your life. Perfect example. Guarding my heart is me sitting there and allowing these things. Basically, it's when I allow these thoughts into my mind, into my heart, into my spiritual being. That's what he's talking about, David. When I allow these things to grow and to start developing, if I allow a big old weed to grow in my pot that I'm trying to grow a tomato plant in, what am I allowing to develop? I'm allowing it to do that, aren't I? I'm allowing that. I'm making that conscious choice. The thing is that above all else, guard your heart. Because not only do you have to make, but it tells you who has the responsibility. It's you. It's your responsibility to watch your heart. Because the thing is that first thing is, if the heart is deceitful above all things, your heart is going to tell you what? What you want to hear. The thing is that you have two wars going on the side of you. And they're the war for dominance. The old Indian tale, you've got two dogs. A good dog and an evil dog. Which one wins? The one you feed the most. You're going to have to choose what you want. I choose, because the thing is like I was telling Amber, I have to choose success, David. I have to choose to dwell upon success. And what I mean by success is having grandchildren that love me, spending time with grandchildren, spending the time with my wife, my family, having the basic necessities of life taken care of. That's success. If I can just meet my bills, Carrie, that's success to me. Because there's a lot of people who are not meeting their bills. But the thing is that he said, I came that you might have life and you might have it what? More abundantly. Why do you not want abundant life? Well, the thing is, you got to understand, from your heart, everything flows out. The Bible's specific about that. It says, from your heart. So in other words, if you want life to flow from you to actually have an abundant life, you have to do what? You have to be mindful of what you consume. In other words, what you dwell upon. I have noticed a correlation. When I know I have a big job to do, Carrie, what I do is I have a blueberry protein shake that I make with my collagen and all that stuff. I make sure that I take all my vitamins. I make sure I've got my water for everything. And I take my protein shake first thing in the morning. What I find is that will cover me way past noon. It gives me the energy to knock out my work. I have the energy to do what I need to do. But Michael, when I do not do that, what do you think I get done? Nothing. When I don't have breakfast, or we go through the restaurant yesterday and we had a crappy breakfast, I'm not going to knock the store, so I'm just not going to tell you, but there's a certain donut shop in Mayflower. Do not order their ham, egg, cheese burrito. Because guess that's what you're going to get, AJ. You're going to get a tortilla, piece of ham, an egg with no seasoning, and cheese, and they're going to roll it up,
Cheese sauce.
cheese sauce, and they're going to roll it up, and they're going to hand it to you and say, "What is this?" That's Thai. But you know my point. It's like, what the? And you eat it, and you're like, and so where were we at? We were hungry. We did not have energy. You know, it's just like, thank goodness for vapes. But the thing is that we made it through it, and then we go eat lunch, and the lunch was like, wasn't that great. But it got us through, and it's okay. We made it through. But what I find is that what I consume determines the outcome of my day. So as I said, this week, I know that I have some heavy jobs that I've got to get done this week. It's just what it is. I got to accept it. I got to do it. What do you think I'm going to do that morning? But not only am I going to do it that morning, I'm actually at the point to where what I'm going to do is I'm now going to take me a protein shake during the day. So about noonish, I can pull one out of my cooler, get it out there, and it's already in the shaker. I just shake it up a little bit and I drink it. And guess where I'm at again? I'm rolling and finishing out my day. Because not only do I want to have the energy, I want to come home and work. I want to come home and play, David. I want to be able to play with my kids. I loved it the other day being able to sit with Blade in his little blind. Blade's got a blind now that he sits out here and watches the birds and, you know, talk to them. It's funny when I was hearing talking to them out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, no bird, no Blade. Your bird imitation is not a good bird call. But the thing is that when I look at my heart and it says, from your heart, everything flows. It is the source of life. The heart is as well the source of all your consequences. That a man dwells upon, so we shall be. What a man thinks, someone's, you know, like we talked about it earlier. Well, you know, you speak of things that aren't as if they are. You have to have a positive outcome, a positive mindset. The other thing you have to be careful of is that if you are stupid enough to believe that social media is not influencing your thoughts and your actions, you have to consider it like this. I noticed it back during COVID. There was a thing that they birthed, two things that was birthed from COVID. Number one, Black Lives Matters. That was birthed from there. And why is that important? Because that really amplified the dividing line between the racist and non-racist. It's like one time, you know, somebody asked, "Well, are you racist?" I said, "No, I pretty much hate everybody." And I don't really hate everybody. I just don't like everybody. You know, I don't really care what color you are. I'm more than likely, I just don't like you. I just don't want to be part of your world. I don't want you to be part of mine because you're probably not going to be a good influence, and I'm just going to kind of keep everybody at a distance because I've got to guard my heart. The thing is that social media fuels what your heart wants. If you start watching, they have algorithms. If you start watching these videos that shows the cops and all the cops being cops and doing all the bad things, what do you think they're going to feed you? Are they going to feed you videos that correlate to you and what you want to hear and your message about the bad cops and all this? And yes, they're going to feed you that. They're not going to feed you how the cops do good things, the policemen do good things, because there are good policemen. There are good policemen who do a good job. There are good policemen. Just like there are good Christians and there are bad Christians. And Christians does not mean Christ-like. It means a title of what you've chosen to disguise yourself as. It's people. What you're dwelling upon, what you're feeding in your heart. I don't have this, so I need that. What do you let rule in your heart? Because it said you have to guard your health. Above all else, guard your heart. Because the thing is that your heart is representative of a cup. And the Bible talks about the guy who has, he says, you basically, you hypocrites. He says, you wash your outside of your cup to make your outside look good. But it's your inside of your cup that's nasty. I might have told y'all the story when I was in Mexico. I wanted to give a demonstration, and so they don't really have cold drinks in Mexico, not where we're at, in the villages and stuff like that. They just not there. It's just water and stuff like that. And I remember where it is hot, Dory. And I get out there, and what they didn't know, before this thing, I picked up a cup and I scooped up some goat droppings. Yeah, had a cup full of goat droppings. And so I said, hey, anybody want a drink of this? And so they're like, because they done figured me out, that they're like, this gringo, he kind of crazy. I'm going to watch him for a second. And so I finally handed the guy a drink, and he says, yeah, man, it's good. I said, anybody else want some? And I said, now, you don't want to share it, do you? I said, well, no. I said, okay, well, I got a cup. Let me get my cup. And so I poured it to them. I said, do y'all want this cup? And they're like, what? And so the guy finally handed it. He goes, I said, come on, drink it, man. I said, you know, no well. Whoop. I don't know how he called it. But the thing is that I told them, I said, you know, on the outside, it looks good. It has a taste of looking good. You see somebody else enjoying it. But what you don't understand is what's inside. I said, but you don't even know. I said, I might have used a bathroom and took my hand and wiped inside of my cup. There's germs that you can't see. I said, you've got to take care of the inside and the outside. Because you can be a great person. I've known great people who had body odor. You can be a great person all you want to. And you can have your inside being spotless. But if you got body odor, what kind of witness you want to be, Dory?
Think you want me.
Huh?
Think you want me.
Yeah, people are not going to want to talk to you. But the thing is that what we got to do is that we got to understand, because what do you want from your life? Me